If you're a coach who's been told that you need to find your voice, or you're holding back because English isn't your first language, or maybe you're just afraid that people might not understand you when you speak. Hey, my name is Hui Hui, and in the last 4 years, I've built a coaching business from zero all the way up to $4 million organically online, serving over 400 clients in across 30 different countries. But here's what might shock you. In my 4th month as a coach, I developed such a severe English phobia that my body would actually tremble at the thought of speaking English on a call. And what I discovered is the very thing that I was most afraid of became my greatest superpower. And in today's video, I'm going to share the exact obsession formula that I use to go from English phobia to speaking on stages with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi in front of 800,000 people. By the end, you're going to understand why your imperfections might be exactly what your global clients need to hear. Let's dive in. So picture this, I'm 4 months into my coaching business and I'm in a breakout room with my friends and I just broke down completely and I cried. I told them that I've got a fear of speaking English and my body is trembling every time I think about getting on another coaching call. Now you gotta understand, I'm Singaporean and my English is, let's call it unique. We have our own accent and our way of adding in other languages like Malay, Mandarin into our English, which is why we call this Singlish, Singaporean type of English. Now I'm trying to coach people from the US, from Britain, Australia, from Italy and France, or from Spain, and all of these different accents, I could barely understand them, let alone communicate with them effectively. So I remember thinking, who am I kidding? I can't even pronounce the words the way that the Americans are doing. So how am I going to build a global coaching business? But here's what happened 24 hours later after the meltdown in the breakout room. I had a coaching call scheduled, and even though I was terrified, even though my voice was shaky, even though it was messy and imperfect, I got up and I did it anyway. That is what I call the anyway mindset. Even if you're scared, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, you do it anyway because your desire to serve is greater than all of your fears. Hey legend, if you're still watching, that tells me that you're someone who doesn't let fear stop you from taking action and that your mission is important to you. So drop a comment below and let me know right now, what is your biggest fear when it comes to speaking to a global audience? I read and reply to every single comment because I know that when you show up with vulnerability and courage, you're going to give another coach the permission and to let them know that they're not alone either. Also, let me know what other mindset blocks would you like me to tackle next. Now let's get back to the video where I'm going to share with you what's the obsession formula that's going to change everything for you. How do I go from that trembling mess to speaking confidently on international stages? I just came back from speaking at one of our events called the Offer Lab, which is by Russell Brunson. And I was speaking on stage sharing about the raving fan engine, how to take a cold audience and turn them into raving fans, how to create an engine that turn your cold audience into raving fans. And so I discovered over this period of time in the last 4 years, what I now call the obsession formula, that if you want to be able to learn a new skill, and even if it's a new skill, you can now become better at this. And it's actually quite a simple formula. So the obsession formula goes like this: laser focus and relentless repetition equals to inevitable mastery. You see, I didn't try to fix everything all at once. I didn't wait until I was perfect. Instead, I became obsessed with one thing, doing so many repetitions that I didn't have time to let the fear sit in. So I scheduled coaching call after coaching call, event after event, workshop after workshop. I was doing 30 to 60 sales calls a month, not because I was desperate, but because I knew that repetition is the mother of all skills. And here's the key insight. I didn't allow myself to overthink. When you're doing that many calls, when you're doing that many events, and we are taking that much action, you don't have the luxury of perfectionism. You just have to show up, serve, and then improve with each interaction. And so as Trent Shelton says, right, a legend is an ordinary person with extraordinary determination. And that's exactly what this was. Extraordinary determination to get my reps in. But here's what most people miss, because it wasn't just about physical reps. I was even doing the reps when I was overseas and doing this next step, which I want to share with you. So the third thing is this. What most people miss is it's not just about the physical reps, it is the mental reps that I do every single day. So I will mentally rehearse myself speaking on stages, visualizing audiences giving me standing ovations, imagining clients thanking me for changing their lives. I created such a vivid picture of the desirable outcome that I wanted that it literally pulled me forward and gave me the motivation to take action every single day instead of me having to force myself to improve. Can you see the difference? I'm pulling myself forward rather than forcing myself forward. And this is really crucial because when your vision of success is much stronger than your current fear, that's when the fear starts to dissolve and you're not pushing against the fear anymore. You're being pulled towards your destiny. And so I would fall asleep visualizing myself speaking clearly, coherently, confidently, making a massive impact. And what I found is that your subconscious mind, it doesn't know the difference between what's vividly imagined or what's real. So every mental rehearsal was actually preparing me for the real thing. And so let me get a little bit more tactical about how I obsess over the improvement. First, I recorded everything, every single coaching call, every single training, every single time I showed up on camera, I recorded it. So I watched my own videos, paying attention to every word that I used, how I pronounced and how I enunciated. And every moment when I would look at the gallery and every moment that the audience frowned because they couldn't understand me, I would note it down so that I can go back and change what I said. And instead of being embarrassed by it, I would check in with my audience. What I say just now makes sense to you guys. And they loved it because it showed that I really cared about the experience. So secondly, I wrote down words that I struggled with on post-it notes and I will stick them to my laptop during trainings. If I knew that I was going to say particularly or entrepreneurship, I would have the phonetic spelling right there in front of me so that I would not get lost. And third, I became a YouTube university student. What do I mean by that? I will literally search how to pronounce this word to learn both the American and the British pronunciations. So I studied accents as if I was preparing for the Olympics of communication. So I've got a list of words that I will learn about the American accent and then the British accent, and then I will decide which version I would use for that particular word. And so fourth, I use visual communication tools as well so that I can support my words with hand gestures, with flip charts, with visual aids, anything to make my message clearer even if my pronunciation wasn't great. And here's the most important part. I didn't allow perfection to seep in. Every piece of feedback became fuel for improvement and not evidence that I should quit. And if you're still with me, you're clearly serious about breaking your own limits. So out of everything that we've covered so far, the anyway mindset, the obsession formula, mental rehearsal, and the tactical improvements, which one is hitting you the hardest? Which one is resonating with you the most? Drop it in the comments and I'd love to be able to read every one of your comments here. And if you want me to go deeper on any of this, just let me know, because your engagement literally helps the YouTube algorithm show this to other coaches who needs it. Now let's come back to the video. The final piece of my obsession formula was daily reflection using what I call the 4 mastery questions. So what did I do well today? What didn't go as well as I planned? What could I do better the next time? And what's my key lesson here? And so every single day, after every coaching call, after every training, every interaction, I was asked myself these questions at the end of the day, not to beat myself up, but to extract the gold at the end of each experience. This is what separates people who gets better over time versus the people who just get busy. So most people just do more of the same thing without improving, but masters, they use feedback to evolve. So you want to learn from the masters. Within 6 months, I went from trembling about speaking English on my coaching calls to now confidently coaching clients in multiple time zones with multiple accents and eventually speaking on that massive stage with Tony Robbins. And here's what I learned. Your accent, your imperfections, your unique way of communication, those aren't bugs. They are your key signature features. My clients often tell me that they chose me specifically because I didn't sound like every other American coach. And so my authenticity and my vulnerability about my language journey was what exactly resonated with them, and that became part of my brand. Here's the thing that very few people talk about. The reason why I was able to serve clients globally wasn't because I became perfect at speaking English. It was because I became obsessed with their transformations, not my performance. And when you're truly focused on changing someone's life, when you're genuinely obsessed with their big breakthrough, when the way you say something becomes secondary compared to what you want to help them achieve, that's when they really pay attention to what you're saying and why you're saying it that way. And so I stopped asking, how do I sound? And I started asking, how can I serve? And that shift changed everything. My Singaporean English, my unique expressions, my way of communicating, and sometimes I still pronounce some words wrongly, but these became my unique signature. It became my superpower because they were authentic. In a world full of polished, perfect coaches saying the same things, authenticity is what is going to cut through the noise for you. And so the clients who resonate with your message, they're going to love your delivery. They're going to love your accent. They're going to love the way you're showing up for them in spite of all of your insecurities and your fears. And the ones who don't resonate with you, they aren't your clients anyway. So give yourself permission to be bad before you get good. Never give yourself permission to never show up. Remember, the world needs the next version of you, not a perfect copy of someone else. And one more thing before you go, I created an introvert success blueprint for coaches who wants to go from 0 all the way up to 6 and multiple 6 figures. So if you're someone who's feeling a little bit shy, a little bit apprehensive, and if you're really serious about growing your business to 6 figures and beyond, drop blueprint below and I'll send you a copy of the introvert success blueprint. Can't wait to celebrate your success and show you how to do this. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, remember to hit the subscribe bell so that you'll be informed of the next videos. And lastly, the obsession formula works. Laser focus and relentless repetition equals to inevitable mastery. Your desire, it must be greater than your fears, and stop collecting strategies and start executing. Give yourself permission to be imperfect, even if you're feeling apprehensive about it right now, but never give yourself permission to stay stuck. You've got this. I'm cheering you on. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.